earth. Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth. I'm gonna put on an iron shirt and chase Satan out of earth. I'm gonna put on an iron shirt and chase the devil out of earth. I'm gonna send him to outer space to find another race. I'm gonna send him to outer space to find another race. Satan is a evilous man, but him can't choke sit on I man. So when I check him, my lass in hand, and if him slip, I gone with him hand. I'm gonna put on an iron shirt and chase Satan out of earth. I'm gonna put on an iron shirt and chase the devil out of earth. I'm gonna send him to outer space to find another race. I'm gonna send him to outer space to find another race. Oh yeah. Him have to drop him fuck and run. Him flash it, yeah.
Stepping out, stepping out, stepping out, stepping out. Open sesame, here comes Rastaman. Abacadabra, catch me if you can. I know you find it hard to believe that I am the genie of your lamp, and I can do anything you wish, but right now I'm commanding you to dance. Stepping out, stepping out. when they come to take you down, when they bring that wagon round, when they come to call on you and drag your poor body down. Just one thing I ask of you, just one thing for me. Please forget you knew my name, my darling Sugaree. Shake it, shake it, Sugaree. Just don't tell 'em you know me. Shake it, Sugaree. Just don't tell 'em you know me. You was the cool fool, never could do no wrong. You had everything sewn up tight. How come you lay awake all night long? Just one thing I ask of you, just one thing for me. Please forget you knew my name, my darling Sugaree. shoes. You still have to stand in the pouring rain. One last voice is calling you, and I know it's time to go. Just one thing I ask of you, just one thing for me. Please forget you knew my name, my darling sugar. Shake it, sugary. Just don't tell 'em you know me. Shake it,
Without
sugary. Just don't tell 'em you know me.
I embrace getting older. I'm so much embrace getting older. I'm so much more confident now, but I don't love that as I age, I could develop gum issues.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Stand by. Hold on. Stand by. Jerry, yeah, he died. He died in his BMW up at Golden Gate Park. That's right. Hang on one second. I'm going to give you something here. I'm going to give you a little chunk of something you probably never had before. So I'm going to dish it up. Enjoy it. It's smoking hot. It's coming right off the grill. I conjured him up from the dead just for this moment. Hang on. Let me see here. Just for this moment, I conjured him up just for you. So let's check out a little bit of Johnny motherfucking Winter.
Town to live in by yourself. Work for $1, live it lousy. Good now, live it die. Yeah, live it die, man. Work for $1, good now, live it lousy. Good now, live it die. Hey, hey. Ain't nobody worried, man. Ain't nobody crying. Yeah, we'll play a little while for you now. Yeah.
live on the edge of town, where we all live ain't a soul around. People starting coming, all we do is just agree and say we gotta move it out, cause city's moving in. I said we gotta move it out, cause city's moving in. Tell me who you know and I'll tell you who to. Go see my friend and he'll set you free. Tell me what you need and maybe I can go too. No one knows a way but maybe me. Nobody goes there, nobody shows where, nobody knows where you can find me.
can make a deal, make it worth your while. There's a gentleman that's going round, turning the joint upside down. Stool pigeon, ha-cha-cha-cha. He's an old ex-con that's been away. Now he's back, no one say. Stool pigeon, ha-cha-cha-cha. After all the talk, then they wired him, and he took a walk with his crooked friends, and they joked about the good old days, and he recorded it on a reel of tape. He caught the mug who did the forgery and the babe in charge of larceny. So the FBI, they rewarded him because they like a guy who will stab a friend.
Tell automatic slim, tell razor toting Jim, tell butcher knife toting Annie, tell fast talking Fanny. We gonna pitch that ball down to that Union Hall. We gonna rump and trump till midnight. We gonna fuss and fight till daylight. We gonna pitch that wang dang doodle all night long. 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 We gonna pitch that wang dang doodle all night long. Tell Scooter brown and red, tell Abyssinia Ned, tell Sister Speed, tell everybody he meets. Tonight we don't need no rest, really gonna throw a mess. We gonna knock down all the windows, we gonna kick down all the doors. We gonna pitch a wang dang doodle all night long. All night long. All night long.
Wanna see you with it, show to treat you right. Give me just a minute of your time tonight. We both are here to have fun, so let it rip. I know you're into grooving, love your body language, baby. Let me know. You got me sorta anxious. We both are here to have fun, so let it rip. So let it rip. Child, let it rip. Put your trip. Child, come on, let it rip. Now that we can see how you groove with me, what else can I do to get closer to you? We both are here to have big fun, so let it rip. The beat you're feeling, obviously. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. I'm the captain of this vessel. We wanna take you on a cruise all around the land. Music is at hand. We wanna play it for you. You see, want to be. We want to be a crew of entertainers. Jam to the music, to the beat. Jam, yeah. Don't let nothing restrain you. We just want you to feel nothing but pleasure. Musical pleasure. Yeah, yeah. Our music is very real. Really real. Truly a treasure. Musical treasure. Come along, pack the bags, get on up and jam, y'all. Come on and ride on the funk, y'all. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. We're the directors of this cruise ship, and you are under our command, yeah. What you should do is take a lesson too, so you can understand. You know, like to see people having a good time. Everybody's happy. Do you wanna party? The beat, let's stomp the music. Keeps the people dancing. I'd rather be with you, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be with you. I'd rather be with you, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be with you.
I'd rather be with you until I'm through. Oh, yes, I do. I'd rather be with you until that day will fly away. I just love that smiling face in the early sun. If I can't have you to myself, then life's no fun.
I'd rather be with you, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be with you. I'd rather be with you, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be with you.
I want to hold your hand, oh, if I can just be a man. I wanna be your friend, not now and then, but until the end. I just love the way you act, and that's a fact. I wanna be your number one, so get to that.
presenting.
Now in the street there is violence, and lots of work to be done. No place to hang out or washing, and I can't blame all on the sun. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Working so hard like a soldier, can't afford a thing on TV. Deep in my heart I abhor ya. Can't get food for the kid. Good God, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! We're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Who is to blame in what country? Never can get to the one. Dealing in multiplication.
Let's go, girls. Hit it! Get up out of your rocking chair, Grandma! Nobody move. Nobody get hurt. Say you give up the ghost that's under you now. Shout it out. Don't let it stay inside and eat you alive. Dig it. Make up your mind. Don't you want to stay this side of mine? I can assure you, when you're my age, you'll learn from all you left behind. You got to dance to the sister. Don't give up today. Hang on till tomorrow. I don't wanna hear you late. You got to dance to the sister. Don't give up today. Hang on till tomorrow. Don't give up, stay. Say now. Shadow week to lay across town. Hey, late. The long reaching of a fool bring you around. Say where? I say it ain't easy. Giving up is the easy thing to do. Ooh, time is on the side. You just watch the clock and let it tick for you.
a bottle of wine and I'll hold you tonight. Well, we know I'm going away, and how I wish you were so take this wine and drink with me. Let's delay our misery. Say tonight, fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be gone. Say tonight, fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be gone. There's a log on the fire, and it burns like me for you. Tomorrow comes with one desire, to take me away. Oh, it's true. It ain't easy to say goodbye. Darling, please don't start to cry. 'Cause girl, you know I've got to go. Oh, and Lord, I wish it wasn't so. Save tonight and fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be gone. Save tonight and fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be gone.
Get home from my job, I turn on my TV, but I can't keep my mind on the show. When I lay down at night, oh, I can't get no sleep, so I turn on my radio. But the only sound I hear is you whispering in my ear the words that you used to say. Now my day no longer as my love grows stronger, and the fever is raging. I've got the fever for the love. Got the fever, oh, I got the fever. There ain't nothing that a about you, baby. I feel alright. They go longer as my love goes strong. Fever is worse and I've got the fever for love. Got the fever. Whoa. Got the fever. There ain't nothing that a poor boy can do when he's got the fever for love. Got the fever. Oh, got the fever. You let the city boy blue. Think about you, baby. I feel alright. Days go longer, love goes strong, and the fever gets worse. And I've got the fever for love. Got the fever. You got to give it to me. There ain't nothing I. You got to give it to me. Got to give it to me. Slick hood, know every trick now. You know I want it so bad. You know I need it, I can't believe it. So come on, baby, please believe it. Got to give it to me. You got to give it to me. Got to give it to me. Got to give it to me. You've been bugging me every night now. You say you want it right now. I can't get through it, you know I can't get through it. So come on, baby, please. Got to get it up. Come on, you got to get it up. You got to get it up. You got to get it up.
Can you predict when a medical device is
Give it to me. You got to give it to me. You got to give it to me.
I used to go out to parties and stand
something that can make you do wrong, make you do right. Yeah. Love. Love and happiness. But wait a minute, something's going wrong. Someone's on the phone, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, talking about how she can make it right. Yeah, yeah. Happiness is when you really feel good about somebody. There's nothing wrong being in love with someone. Yeah. Oh, baby, love and happiness. Love and happiness. Oh. I'll be good to you. We'll be together. Yeah. See each other. Walk away with victory. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, baby. Love and happiness. Oh, yeah. Love and happiness. Oh. Stay out all night long. Oh, love. Wait a minute. Let me tell you. Our love. Hey, hey, hey.
Down there we have a plant that grows out in the woods and the fields. Looks something like a turnip green. Everybody calls it poke salad. Poke salad. Used to know a girl lived down there and she'd go out in the evenings and pick her a mess of it. Carry it home and cook it for supper.
My name's Jimmy. Check, hold on. All right, stand by. Get ready. You ready? Everybody ready? Get ready. Hang on. Here we go.
I have a plant that grows out in the woods and the fields. Looks something like a turnip green. Everybody calls it poke salad. Poke salad.
My name's Jimmy. It's Aftermath Media and Aftermath.fm. It's Thursday night. That's right.
They did all right. I'm down in Louisiana.
And by the way, Into the Microcosm is on the eye.
The girl that I swear to the world made the alligators look tame. Poke salad, Annie. Poke salad, Annie. Everybody said it was a shame. Her mama was a wicked on a chain gang. A mean, vicious woman.
himself in a new Toyota. Okay, that's enough imagination.
Every day for supper time, she'd go down by the truck patch and pick her mess of poke salad and carry it home in a tow sack. Poke salad, Annie. The gator's got you, Granny.
Oh, what you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. Oh, what you gonna do? Do you wanna get down? Oh, what you gonna do? You wanna get down? Oh, what you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Come on in. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. How you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. Tell me, how you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. 'Cause I heard all the people saying, get down on it. Come on.
Epic Journeyman. Are you there?
I am here. I didn't get swept off to Molokai
Excellent.
current. I was trying to get one of those whales, man. They're still here. They're going to be here for a little bit more. I've never saw one in the water, underwater with them yet. I always get just close enough. This is the year I'm trying. But,
Well,
man, you got to be careful. Might get swept
Sometimes, sometimes the whale is not your friend, my friend. You got to be careful anytime you're dealing with wild animals. Mammals can go wild. I mean, think about what's his nuts in the belly of the white whale, Moby Dick.
Boy went back to Napoli.
I see him over there. There's no time to lose. No time to waste.
Native dancers and the charming songs. But wait a minute, something's wrong. Now it's a mambo, mambo Italiano, a mambo Italiano, go Joe. You mixed up Siciliano, or you calabrese, do the mambo like crazy, and a mambo don't want a tarantella, a mambo no more a mozzarella, a mambo Italiano, try an enchilada with a fish, a bacalao, and then hey gumba, I love how you dance rumba.
Hey, Goomba. I love how you dance. Rumba. Are you there? Giuseppe Vavagulo.
I am here, Gumbari.
Excellent.
Hey, ¿cómo está?
Bien. Bien. Living la
In Italian, it's bene.
Oh, bene. Ciao, Bella. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, Bella. Don't worry about it. But I gotta say this. There is a mixture of both Mexican and Italian in this song. Because right before
no doubt.
Right before they say mozzarella, they say get yourself an enchilada. And I know that is not a piece. Ooh, damn. Bridget is just out of this world. My name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. It's Aftermath Media, Aftermath.fm. Sitting here with the Epic Journeyman on Speculation Island. The big kahuna of Speculation Island's laying back in his hammock with his $300 sunglasses on, pondering the universe all day long. And then he comes here on Thursday nights and delivers night after night after night. He is like Hank Aaron, hitting home runs. And of course, there's Giuseppe Vaffangulo, one of the hardest working men in the alternative media. Welcome into the microcosm, everybody, and we are happy to see you. And like I said, what we're talking about tonight is Miramax and the social engineering that came out of the Weinstein operation down in Los Angeles, which later was revealed right after a hail of bullets in Las Vegas. Now, when Trump won the election, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton came out in these purple outfits. Okay? Hillary is wearing a purple suit. Bill had a purple tie on. Now, after the show we saw in Las Vegas, the first thing that happened, the first press conference, you can search it up yourself, the first press conference after that happened, Trump came out wearing a purple tie. Okay, now, this is also a key moment in the Trump presidency, because this is also a moment where he started to not be who he said he was during the campaign in a lot of respects. Okay, so this is right after this is when the Weinstein Me Too operation started, and there were a lot of disgruntled actresses from Los Angeles. They came into close proximity to Harry Weinstein and his member. It was a members only club, and you didn't even get in the door unless you were willing to have a one-on-one with the member himself. And who knows what he was into? I mean, that's not what we're talking about, but what we are talking about is the rise of the independent filmmaker, the Sundance Kid, Kevin Smith, and then you also have in this mix, you have Quentin Tarantino in here, and you have a bunch of movies that would never get made in a studio system simply because of the content. But they found that this was also a social engineering tool. Weinstein's Miramax films all of a sudden started to show massive profits from these independent films and the type of goings-on that were going on in these films. Epic Journeyman, are you there? Because you know a little bit about Miramax and what their revenues looked like in these periods of time. Why don't you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, Miramax was a B-movie company for the longest time. What was happening in the video industry had taken off, the video rental industry, and I happened to be in it at that time. But I wasn't in it until 1991. Was when I got into it, and up to that point, I mean, Miramax was still just like, it was movies they didn't quite have enough behind them to get a major studio behind them, so it'd be either direct to video release, or they get a small budget, but they might get a small release in the theater, but they ended up pretty much direct to video, right? And along the way, they had a couple movies in 1989, around in the 80s, but 1989 is the first year they actually started making a profit, and it was with Return of the Swamp Thing, ironically, and Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which were big renters. They were big renters at the time, and they were pretty big movies. And B movies like The Stepfather 2, and then a really prominent movie that won an Oscar, which really put them on the map, which is My Left Foot, right? So that was all in 1989. But where they really got their gusto, so to speak, was in the 90s, and that's because they acquired all these independent film studios. So at that time, there's so many independent film studios just putting things out direct to video that, I mean, literally in the hundreds, at least 100 plus, right? And they ended up buying most of them out. I mean, there's 5 major companies that formed out of those independents. Miramax got the lion's share. and Vestron had been around for a while, but the other companies like Artisan, which is also live, was a big one. But Miramax is the one, and really, like, it started in 1990, 1991. I mean, it really started taking off. I mean, with really critically acclaimed movies like The Cook, the Wife, The Thief, and Her Lover, which is a horrible movie, by the way, but Siskel and Ebert loved it. Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, just the Lemon Sisters, The Tall Guy. I really like The Tall Guy. It's Jeff Goldblum. That was a cool movie. The Craze, which is a British crime movie, but really it was Quentin Tarantino. It was Reservoir Dogs. It really put them on the map, and from that time on, I mean they became a rival to the major companies, even though they're still in cahoots and partly owned. I mean they really did have a big chunk of the pie. They really did. So take it from there.
Yeah, so that Quentin Tarantino, Roger Avery writing team, and then Quentin Tarantino also, he was I think he worked at a video store, Epic, for a long time. He went to school here in He went to school here in Santa Cruz. That's why in Pulp Fiction, you see what's his nuts is wearing a Santa Cruz Slugs, Banana Slugs T-shirt, because the mascot for the Santa Cruz University UCSC is the banana slug, believe it or not. So, Giuseppe Vavangulo, listen, did you see any of these movies? We're going to start first off because he really is the key moment, and for me, as far as some of this content and some of the social engineering that took place over at Miramax. Because there's always this talk. I mean, if you're bringing up Pulp Fiction just right now, we'll just kind of talk a little bit about it. I mean, think about it, man. Bring out the gimp. I mean, the dude's like, tied up in a box wearing a leather hood. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right. You know what I mean? What's going on in Silver Lake or whatever. I mean, this whole thing is all based around a lot of this weird shit that goes on in Silver Lake. So, here is a clip, okay? Here is a clip from the movie that got Kevin Smith a little bit of notice. That's right. Clerks.
That was Snowball.
Why do you call him that?
Sylvan made it up. It's a blowjob thing.
What do you mean?
After he gets a blowjob, he likes to have it spit back into his mouth while kissing. It's called snowballing.
He requests this?
He gets off on it.
Sylvan can be talked into anything.
Why do you say that?
Well, like you said, she snowballed him.
Sylvan? No, I snowballed him.
Yeah, right.
I'm serious.
You sucked that guy's dick?
Yeah, how do you think I knew that he...
Wait, but you said you only had sex with 3 different guys. You never mentioned him.
Because I never had sex with him.
You sucked his dick.
We went out a few times. We never had sex, but we fooled around.
Oh, my God. Why did you tell me you only had sex with 3 different guys?
Because I did only have sex with 3 different guys. That doesn't mean I didn't just go with people.
Oh, my God, I feel so nauseous.
I'm sorry, Dante. I thought you understood.
I did understand. I understood that you had sex with 3 different guys, and that's all you said.
Please calm down.
How many?
Dante.
How many dicks have you sucked?
Go.
How many?
Right, shut up a second and I'll tell you. Jesus, I didn't freak out like this when you told me how many girls you fucked.
This is different. This is important. How many? Well?
Something like 36.
What? Something like 36?
Lower your voice.
Wait, what is that anyway? Something like 36. Does that include me?
37.
I'm 37?
Going to class.
Oh, my God. 37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
Die Hard.
So there's some social engineering for you, man. He met the girl, he was going out with her, and she told him she only had sex with 3 guys, which was true, She just didn't tell him about the snowballing and the sucking the 37 dicks.
One thing that in Epic's comprehensive addressing of Miramax, he didn't cover the movie that really set up the arena or the foundation for Clerks, which was August 1989, Sex, Lives, and Videotape by Steven Soderbergh. That really broke.
I did, actually.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Good one. Yeah, talk about that.
Well, that created the initial buzz of the hip, independent movie maker who's, dealing with sex and 80s relationships, late 80s relationships in a much more real, visceral way than mainstream movies were dealing with at the time.
Yeah, and I think it's the reason I brought it up. That was a changing point. It really was. Before Quentin Tarantino, that was one of the things that put him on the map. And I would say from that point on, in a way, they became a major player. That's what I was saying, is that before that, they were kind of on the fringe, and they were acquiring all these other companies. But after that, they became a rival studio to the main studios. But the movies that got attention, they kind of surprised me. They don't surprise me now when we look at it the way we look at things now. But back then they did, and in a way, they're all about sexual perversity, right? The Cook, the Wife, the Thief, and the Lover, highly acclaimed by critics. I mean, they love that movie, right? It's about cannibalism. Okay?
Right.
And child, it highly implies pedophilia in that movie as well, with the kid, singing, "Ooh, the dishwasher" all the time, going this opera thing, and then the mom, "There's a man in your bed, tie me up, tie me down," the big one, and then going to, we talked about what we just said with the dialogue with the Kevin Smith movies, but then the dialogue in Reservoir Dogs, it opens with describing like a virgin, right? And what they think that is, which ironically, Truth or Dare was also by Miramax. So
Right.
in the 1990, 91, 92, leading up to Reservoir Dogs, there's just a ton of these things that are all they're pushing the line, the boundary, right? They really are. And people are so caught up in how cool the dialogue kind of is because the way it plays off each other. I mean, itself, in the case of the Quentin Tarantino movies, but as far as like the avant-garde aspect of whether it be Truth or Dare or whether it be Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, Bondage and that kind of thing, and a Cook, the Wife, the Thief, and the Lover, it's pushing. Isn't that the intent? I mean, that's what I guess I'm getting at. Is if you look at it like we do now as a social engineering tool, it's stretching the boundary. It's pushing it. Right, to where that becomes more acceptable. So now, watch a movie like, Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey, right? And that's totally cool for a 14-year-old girl to be into it, which is just so wrong, right?
Yeah, well, and then you wonder why there's no problem with waterboarding. Mom's Jimmy, it's into the microcosm. We're talking about Miramax. Now, I want to point to another scene. Here's a movie. Now, it's when you see the trailer of this movie, it's like Mallrats. It's another one of those teen movies, that everybody's used to, and nobody's paying really much attention to this one. It flies under the radar. That's what I'm saying. See, Kevin Smith became the darling of Miramax and he doesn't have to be involved in it. It's just that his scripts and his storylines interested the social engineering behavior modification complex because there was content there that they wanted you to use to shape the population. Mom's Jimmy, it's in the microcosm. Mallrats.
He's a 25-year-old, and he has quite a distaste for you, I might add.
Hang on a second.
Sort of like you doing sitting alone in the middle of this monument to consumerism.
Updating my calendar, waiting for Jay and Silent Bob. And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics. T.S. Quint, Trisha Jones. They call her Trish the Dish.
Nobody calls me that.
Our little Trisha here is only 15, but somehow she's a senior. How'd you manage that?
Don't listen to him. I studied my ass off.
Yeah, right. So what do you say? You want to nail TS or what? Jesus, Brody. Calm down. Trisha's compiling data for this book she's writing about the sex drive of men ages 14 to 30. If I remember correctly, it's titled Borgasm, a study of the 90s male sexual prowess. Ready to get sick? Tell them about the advance you got.
Pendant Publishing gave me $20,000 based on a treatment in a sample chapter.
You're kidding. It's true. She'll be the youngest author to tackle the subject. So Trisha here sleeps with a bunch of guys as research, and if that's not enough, get this, she videotapes all of them.
What? I get everybody's consent before we do it. Most guys get off on it. Men are easily amused.
What are you writing in the calendar?
I was coding last night's research.
She means sex.
I know what she meant. What kind of codes?
Here, look. The smiley face is for when I go down on the guy. The smiley face with lashes is for when the guy goes down on me. The circle is for when we have sex. The circle with the X in it is for when I have an orgasm. The little house is when we do it inside, and the grass is for outside.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
How old was last night's subject, if you don't mind me asking?
25. It was the guy who runs that store, Fashionable Now.
Holy shit, you slept with that asshole? Why?
I needed a 25-year-old.
Mom's Jimmy. It's Aftermath Media, Aftermath.fm. Stay tuned for Clyde Lewis coming up right after Into the Microcosm. Tonight, what we're talking about. We're talking about the Hollywood behavior modification complex and the outsiders, the underground, the underground, and the propagation of archetypes. And the bad girl. She was an important archetype to formulate, especially at this particular period of time, because those bad girls grew up to be who they are now. And when you see commercials on TV where it's a mom, she's dressed in black with a black leather jacket, black shades, wraparounds on, and a black minivan with kids all dressed in black leather jackets and black sunglasses. They're like the outsiders. Everybody wants to be the outlaw. Mom's Jimmy, I am the outlaw. You can find me right here, Aftermath.fm, every Thursday night with Into the Microcosm and a whole host of fabulous friends and confidants that join us every week to think tank out some of these situations. Now, what we're talking about is Miramax. Now, we just brought up Kevin Smith. He was the Sundance Kid. Wasn't he, Epic Journeyman? Are you there?
I am here. I'm sorry.
No,
yeah, mute. Sometimes that mute button stays on a little too long. But I was tripping out about how he with so little money. He's Robert Rodriguez of north of the border. I mean, Robert Rodriguez is in L.A. at the time, but still, I mean, the idea of having so little money. Clerks supposedly famously was, I think it was $40,000, if I'm going by memory right, which is similar to what El Mariachi was produced with by Robert Rodriguez. And so these guys became commodities, and but by this time, we're talking about Miramax here, is become a hit-making machine. It's like I said, it's become a big studio. It's no longer just a kind of fringe, you didn't quite make it to the big time. Now it is the big time, right? And it's interesting that, by 1991, they're really going full bore. And in 1992, we're talking about pushing the boundaries again. What's the movie that wins the Academy Award? The Crying Game, right? The Crying Game. Another one pushing the boundary and putting things into the public sphere that people really weren't thinking about too much before then, right? That's a great place to leave it, but I'd like to hear what you guys think.
Well, I think you're right, and like I keep saying, it's like you're getting moved down the critical path a little bit at a time. Getting used to it. Getting used to it a little bit more for Santa Claus. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
There's something. Not everybody knows what it means, but it's really relevant. There's something called the Overton window, and the Overton window is what the average person in America finds acceptable in the mass media, right? And so they're essentially shifting the Overton window very insidiously away from a traditional patriarchal, the man controls the family, the man is the provider, the man institutes sex, and the woman is the demure ingenue, and oh daddy, you know what to do, to where we're seeing Kevin Smith, and even before that in Steven Soderbergh and Sex, Lies, and Videotapes, where the Italian girl, she was the wild one, and the beautiful model, I can't think of their names, was the shyer one, and Santa Angelo or something was her name, and then it got to Kevin Smith, who was the hip guy. He Epic was right. He put that whole movie together on credit cards. He maxed out every credit card he could get, and he made the film, and it was very clever. I mean, really, some absolutely funny things. And then less than a few months later, they're moving the Overton window even more to find that transsexuals and pre-op transsexuals are a hip, cool, sympathetic figure. I mean, you think about 10 years earlier, that would have never been the case.
No, not at all. Right, not at all. And I'm a little on the fence about because I never saw the movie. I'm sad to say, The Piano. I just I know about it. It was nominated for so many Academy Awards. It only won a few, but just like the Crying Game, Crying Game won Best Original Screenplay, but it was nominated for like 7 or 8 Academy Awards. It was a huge movie that year. And The Piano, I mean, it's kind of a there's things about it that bother me just from the previews. Did you guys see the movie?
No.
I never did. I knew it was very, awards up the yin yang, but it just didn't appeal to me. So,
well, the mom's. I just know the plot basically is she's mute, right? She voluntarily she's sold as into marriage, moves down to New Zealand, and her daughter talks, basically as her interpreter, right? She plays piano. Yeah, so I guess I need to watch it, but obviously before I talk about it anymore. But there's just something about it. Like
I
it's
did
like
see the piano, but I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention because I'm trying to get this clip lined up. So yes, I did see the piano. It was a good movie. But yes, Suspect. Go ahead.
Well, but maybe the reason I call it Suspect is another movie I really liked, right? That I did see was Professional, which isn't a Miramax movie as far as I know, but it bothered me. It bothered me because of the way they portrayed the girl, right? She's too young to be portrayed that way, right? And I'm not saying that Miramax pushed that boundary totally. They had the movie Kids, which yeah, maybe did, right? But it's leading to that. It's leading that direction, certainly. There's no doubt about it. So how far can they keep pushing the boundary? The Overton window, as Giuseppe was saying.
Yeah.
Well, it's clear the international globalist goal is to continue to move the Overton window to where pedophilia is societally acceptable. I mean, that's clear. Clearly their goal.
Yeah, and that's going on, and it's been going on since Shirley Temple. And now they're almost there. Seriously.
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, it's they've already passed laws around the world that are definitely questionable. So a lot of these movies always had double meanings. There's double meanings in all this stuff, and that's the thing. It's like people don't realize unless you're in the group that understands the inside joke, you don't get it. But the people behind the scenes that are putting it all together, they do get it. And so they're putting stuff together that, is going to appeal to both whatever your sexual preferences are. They will make this whatever they make will be, sexually preferable to you. Like we talked about, the guy comes swimming up out of the pool and he climbs out with his pecs, and his gleaming tan body with his, 8-pack of, abdominal muscles, and he goes over and gets his drink and, pulls out a towel and wipes himself down. That thing is, it's erotic to females, and it's also erotic to someone who may be gay. Or a gay
Well, what
person.
would make that perfect is if he went over to the refrigerator there at the poolside and grabbed a carton of milk and started drinking straight out of it, right?
And then it poured down the whole front of his.
Right.
Yeah, that could be. What did they? What did she call that earlier? A snowball. He could be like mock snowballing. No, but the thing is that there's signals, man. There's stuff going on behind the scenes, and let's face it. Weinstein and the whole Me Too thing. That was mostly a heterosexual situations with women being the ones that were upset. But I'm gonna tell you right now, most of the people in power on Madison Avenue and in Hollywood, those people are gay. So
and in Washington D.C.
Well, yeah, I don't have personal knowledge there, but I can say that in Los Angeles, if you go down there and you want to get in the movie business, if you're a good-looking dude, you're gonna get the once over or whatever. You're gonna get the eye, and I could go on and on about stories of friends of mine in Los Angeles trying to make it as actors, And I could even talk about a friend of mine who went all the way up until Calvin Klein was going to be the Calvin Klein dude after Marky Mark. All he had to do was just become a member and talk to the member. And he didn't want to do it, so he didn't get the job. But, that's how it goes, though, anyways. But what we're talking about is signaling, and a lot of this stuff that you just take for face value has a whole undercurrent, a whole underline. And it depends on who's watching it, is what it means depends on who's watching it. Put it that way. So, and it's going to hurt, man. It's going to trigger some people, but there's a whole bunch of stuff in hip-hop, man. There's a whole bunch of stuff, man. It's always talking about that ass, your pants dragging down around your ass, you know what I'm saying? It has a whole connotation to it that we're not going to get into that tonight, but I'm just saying, these rags, these colors, all of these different things that go on, there's all signals going on, Epic Journeyman. The underlying sexual signaling that's going on in a myriad of ways. Why don't you get into a little bit of some of this signaling now? Lots of people don't realize that the different color bandanas in different pockets means different things when you're down on Hollywood Boulevard or whatever, or actually Santa Monica Boulevard. Go ahead, Epic.
I really wish I hadn't looked that up because I'll never look at the world the same afterwards, right? It turns out that going back at least to there's a manual in 1980 apparently written by this guy that I don't have the window open to quote him, but was looking at it the other night. And it's, it's all about signaling with the right color bandana for the kind of sexual enterprise you're willing to engage in. Both what you're looking for and what you are willing to do. So depending on what pockets you put that bandana, what color it is, we're using a bandana as an example, it says what you're willing to do if it's in one pocket and what you want if it's in the other pocket. And apparently it's been going on for decades, before that even, right? And so it's this whole kind of signaling literally done almost like a Navy signalman. I'm sure that's probably where it came from. Who got probably some gay sailor back in the day who took that idea and said, you know what, I'm going to use this, right? And it had been going on in the underground of America and probably throughout the world for a long time. So when you look at it now and you see that red bandana, but it's actually a ball cap in Bruce Springsteen's right pocket on the Born in the USA album cover, I'm worried now.
See, that's the thing, though. It doesn't matter if it's a bandana or a ball cap. It's still the same
color,
thing. It's
right?
the color.
In the pocket it's in, right?
It's the color. Now, I'm sure Giuseppe Vafangula and Epic Journeyman, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this sort of poppy band called Weezer. You guys?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you familiar with Weezer? Yeah, so Weezer, I mean, their whole image and, their styling. I mean, you got these guys that look like they're little teenage boys, kind of. They got this teenage boy look to them, to the quality of him. He's got this Buddy Holly glasses, and the shirt and the sweater. It didn't even have a song called My Sweater or something. They might have. We'll look into that. But in the meantime, the song I want to talk about right here and right now is, now I want you to take a look at that guy. He's like a young looking dude. I'm just saying, he's putting off the image that he's a young kid. He's like a high school, he looks like a high school kid. Okay, so here's the first bit of this song. I can't help my feelings, I'll go out of my mind. These players out to get me 'cause they like my behind. I can't love my business if I can't get a trick. Down on Santa Monica, where tricks are for kids. Come on and kick me. Whoa, whoa. Okay, now, I want to point something out, man, on this, okay? Now, I want to bring in psychic driving, because this chorus now is the psychic driving portion of this. And it's repeating something over and over again, but what it's doing is it's getting you to make your head go up and down in a yes motion. So you're saying yes. Okay, the psychic driving is going on with the chorus. It makes your head go up and down like this, and you're saying yes to it. Okay, so now I can't help my boogies. They get out of control. I know that you don't care, but I want you to know. The knee stocking flavor is the favorite treat of men that don't bother with the taste of the teat.
Come
nightmare walking, psychopath talking. King of my jungle, just a gangster stalking, living life like a firecracker, quick as my fuse. Been dead as a death, back the colors I choose. Red or blue, cause of blood, it just don't matter. Sucker died for your life when my shotgun scatters. Colors, the gangs of LA will never die. Just multiply colors. Colors.
You know, like the hardest core gangsters or whatever back in the day, like Ice-T and all this, colors and stuff, you know, but now he talks like a beta male on TV. There's nothing gangster about Ice-T. But what's funny about it, though, is that is the perception, is that just because you're in hip-hop and you're doing hardcore gangster, that you're straight. But that's not necessarily true, and it's not bad if people are gays. I'm not trying to say that. What I am trying to say, though, is people have, one concept of something, but what they don't understand is it's plain to see to people who have gaydar who's gay and who isn't. So, I mean, I've seen a whole bunch of videos. I mean, Tupac was making some accusations about Dr. Dre on the set of California Love and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. It's none of my business what people do in the privacy of their own bedrooms. So I'm not trying to say that. But what I am trying to say is as we move into the future and babies being made isn't a good thing because there's too many people. People have to find another outlet. And before, people were in the closet. They couldn't just be gay. Everything was in the closet, so all the homoerotic material that was coming out of Hollywood was coming out for gay people. It was for all people no one knew were gay. They were all married. They had what's called a beard or whatever. So the thing is that, you know, quite a few of the people, the big male superstars that all the women were attracted to, even in the black and white era of movies in Hollywood, most of those guys were gay. Most of the actors are gay. A lot of the lead singers in these bands, if you look at a lot of the lead singers, they're a bit effeminate, man. I mean, you can look at it yourself. Now everybody has gaydar because being gay has become, you know, normal. Like everybody can just walk out and be gay. They don't have to be in the closet. So now we're exposed to it, and because we can see it. We can notice it. Now, what I'm trying to bring to the table, Epic, is there's some signaling going on, not just on this, with these rags, the colors of these bandanas, and the different meanings of your different sexual preferences. Now, you found out something last night about this Hawaiian shirt. Now, why don't you share a little bit about the Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah. It totally caught me by surprise. As I shared, I had one of my favorite shirts. I paid a lot of money for it. It was a charcoal colored button-up shirt, you know, collared shirt, and it was meant to be, you know, worn on the outside, you know, with it hanging out, not tucked in, and then if like any Hawaiian shirt, right, it's supposed to be that way, and at the bottom of it, it had these pineapples. Well, it turns out that the pineapples, it means you're a swinger. So I was always having these couples while I was wearing that shirt out and about come up to me and buy me drinks and wanted to chat and stuff, and I could never figure out why. I bought that shirt in the 80s, late 80s, like 87, 89, somewhere in there, and I kept it for years. In fact, I think I might have it still. And it was, like I said, it was a quality shirt. It was like by itself on the rack at Neiman Marcus or someplace when I bought it, you know, in the mall, and had no idea, had no clue, you know. But I was constantly being approached by these people during that time frame, and I had no idea why. And when you read these hanky codes that now and what these things mean, my God, man, be careful what you wear, man.
You know, the sad truth is that there are all kinds of tribes and big tribes and small tribes and cultures and subcultures. And the gay subculture is small in number, but great in power. And essentially, they you know, at best, they're 2 to 3% of the physical population. And yet you look at how they've shifted the Overton window to make the homosexual lifestyle acceptable. And I don't care what anybody does in their clubs, in their homes, whatever, you know, as long as you're not doing something against the will of another adult, against a child, against an animal, knock yourself out. I really don't care. But the problem is that the homosexual community really despises traditional heterosexual individuals. They're scorned for them. They call them breeders, and they think they're stupid. And so that's what we're looking at. That's the undercurrent. It's not an undercurrent of love and acceptance. It's an undercurrent of a weaponized hyper minority that's trying to destroy the majority society.
Yeah, and there became this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Epic.
Oh no, I was just gonna point out like something that I never would have caught had I not found that out. Right? It's like the character Quagmire in Family Guy is constantly signaling. Once you read these things and find out some of this stuff, pay attention. Watch the shirts that guy wears and watch what he does. And he obviously has that swinger kind of mentality. He's a character like that, right? So it's just funny, that you. I'm not sure about Seth MacFarlane and his sexual identity and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Don't really care. He's a brilliant guy, but and he's very talented. But the thing is, you look at that show. And just like The Simpsons had so many things in that show that you look at now and go, Jesus H, man, how did I miss that, right? And all of us here on this panel are smart people, but we missed a lot of this stuff, because we didn't know, right? But there's people who do know, and they signal to the people in the know. And that's what these movies were bringing up today, and what Miramax was doing that period of the late 80s, early 90s, especially the early 90s to mid 90s, what they were doing. Well, they were signaling to their crowd.
And Giuseppe just dropped a photo in of Weinstein with what's his nuts and Giselle Maxwell or whatever. Epstein, Weinstein, and Giselle, whatever her nuts is. What's
Maxwell?
Maxwell, yeah. So there became this thing where Howard Stern was a big proprietor of this. There became this thing where they installed this fantasy idea that all men fantasize about having two women getting together with each other. Not that the men fantasize about being with two women and they're being with the women, but that somehow men were at some point just sit around fantasizing about two women kissing and being together. And this was the same time that Howard Stern was bringing us to the table. Same time as that song came, I Kissed a Girl. There's this whole lipstick lesbian thing going on where it wasn't just, what people's normal idea what being a lesbian was. There was now these beautiful women that were into being with each other. And that changed the whole face, from a social engineering standpoint, the whole face of lesbians and, what they're all about. And so one of the big proprietors of these social engineering changing of the steering of the boat was Miramax, and one of the movies was another Kevin Smith movie called Chasing Amy.
What? It's rude. Man, when are we ever gonna get a chance to see this kind of shit live without paying for it? Sorry, it's new to him. Oh, and you're an old hand at this?
No, I should apologize. I don't normally get all mushy in public, but it's been a while since I've seen Kiln here.
You know what? I want to dance.
Go ahead. I'll watch from here.
No, I want to dance with you.
You're such a rag. I have to sit here and work up the desire to fuck you later. Please. Yes.
Okay, so listen, I gotta break this up just so I don't get hammered on this. Now here comes the conversation that's coming up. Okay, so Giuseppe Vangulo and Epic Journeyman, do you want to cut in here real quick?
I just clicked on Epic's posting of the hanky code. I had no idea. Jeez. That's unbelievable.
It is.
You can't unsee it, can you? It's like, oh my God, man. Yeah,
No.
once you see that, it's all over, man.
You cannot unsee it, but the thing is, it's been going on forever and a day, man.
I had no idea.
No, but yeah, and the thing is what I'm saying is these movies that you thought were based in a heterosexual ideology might have not have been ever for that reason. Because I'm telling you right now, the people in positions of power in Los Angeles, you know, like I said earlier, yeah, it's Me Too. I get it. Yeah, Me Too. I understand. I understand what people have to go through down there, you know, because I was down there and I experienced it firsthand, so I can talk about it firsthand. And I'm just saying, you know, unless you're willing to polish the doorknobs, man, you're not going to get to come in the door. So, you know, I don't polish doorknobs, so I left, you know, but thing is you know, some people don't leave and they polish that doorknob and they have an expectation that that's actually going to mean something in the realm of things, you know, to be or whatever. So you don't get that movie all of a sudden that you went over there and went over to Weinstein's place and went around his 27,000 square foot house, polishing doorknobs all over the place. All over there, there's about 50 doorknobs you polished that night, and now you got nothing, man. You're supposed to get in a Quentin Tarantino movie, but you didn't happen. Sorry about that, man. Well, hey, you know, maybe he made a phone call, got you on the set for a day, but they cut that part out. You know, I mean, no big deal. You know, what's it cost them? A few grand? Yeah, they don't care. But you polished all the doorknobs in Weinstein's house all night long, didn't you? That's right. But no one said Me Too about that, did they? No. You can't have that, man. They drew everybody's attention away specifically from that because that is the problem. That is the issue. You see? You know, because when you're in charge of the social engineering and you keep making these women look younger and younger and younger and make men and put the sex symbol that you propagate all over everywhere is younger and younger, and you psychologically engineer the male population to want to be with younger people. You know, when did the whole shaving of the vagina thing come into play? Because, I mean, the shaving of the vagina, I mean, I can understand if you don't know your way around someplace and you need a little help, I could get that. But what I'm saying is what was really going on is what they did was they took this thing and they took away the one thing that signifies a certain age or a certain maturity, and they made it desirable for people to. I'm just saying, I'm trying to point out how all this stuff was made desirable. It was socially engineered. It's not bad if you do it, if you love it, if whatever. I don't care. I'm not saying anything about that. But what I am saying is when it wasn't okay and there was a stigma attached to it and it was in the closet, it wasn't like it is now. Now it's a choice. Before, it was in your genes. You were born that way. Now it's just a choice, you know? And so making a choice because you want to have an orgasm or whatever, you're just making a choice. You know, once you venture away from the penis, you know, entering the vagina and you go in other areas to achieve your orgasmic pleasure, well, once you're moved away from the vagina, well, you know, at that point, does it really matter who's on the other receiving end, whether it be male or female? I mean, there's a whole bunch of psychological studies going on right now that because of the way that everything's been socially engineered and the way that males have been, have been shown over and over again to be these stupid, oafish fools that don't know anything, while the wife is the warrior princess, and these men are sex-starved to the point where they're even willing to go and be with other men just because they need to do something, and they just can't stand having to go through all the, you know, having to fight, you know, like a Kill Bill battle with Uma Thurman every time they want to get laid. Go ahead.
You know, I mean, this is one of the things I've observed from being an insider in the VR community, right, virtual reality community, is that that's going to start taking the place of regular sex. It is, They're normalizing the idea of I won't call them sex bots, but the equivalent thereof, the virtual sex bot, where you can have anything you want, anytime you want, anywhere you want, and whatever you desire, right? And part of that social engineering was the feminization of the male in the sense that what women can do that men generally could never do. We're talking just general, stereotypical male and female. Females can fall in love and get involved psychologically without physical attraction in a normal sense. They get attracted to the idea, right? Where men need that physical attraction in the pheromones and all that things typically. But by feminizing the male, it allows for the cerebral idea of sex to take root, right? The feminine ideal, right? Which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying to do it to men is a bad thing. And now it makes things like robotic pleasure or virtual pleasure acceptable on both sides. It's the ultimate form of birth control and the ultimate means of societal control.
Well,
it really is.
It's like it's like Caligula out here, though. Really. Go ahead, Giuseppe, and then I'll jump in here on the Caligula. Go ahead.
I was just have an excellent data point to share that validates Epic's lucid observation. In 2020, the Gallup organization did a poll of Americans' LGBT self-identification by generation. Old timers ages 75 and older, 1.3% of those polled, which was a significant amount of people, according to Kareth Conran, the research director at Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law. 1.3% age 75 and older. Baby boomers, they listed as 57 to 75, 2% identify LGBT. Generation X, 41 to 56, 3.8% identify. And now what you said earlier, Jimmy, about literally raping the minds of the youth, millennials ages 25 to 40, 9.1% identify LGBT, and Gen Z 19 to 24, 15.9% or 16%, which is all due to the mass media influence. This is no other reason than they're being entrained, hypnotized to think they're LGBT.
And the thing is it's all around having the orgasm, man. That's what I'm trying to say, because once you've established this condom society where there is no actual contact between a man and a woman, somebody you meet in a bar, you meet somebody, you're not going to just go have, unprotected sex at this point, because what's gone on in the past with transmissible diseases, whatnot. So the thing is, you're cutting off the very flow of energy between the humans that is causing this energetic union that happens between people. But there's no love or anything or relationship involved. It's just really mostly just wanting to have sex. And so when you've taken the love out of it, you've taken out the connection, you've gotten women used to a rubber thing inside of them instead of an actual man's penis like it's supposed to be. So then, it's easy for them to break away from the penis and, head over towards their rubber pal, that, is always there whenever, necessary. It vibrates and all this. And there's no way, Billy Bob out in the garage can come up in the house and, take care of business the way some, mechanical, help can do, the mechanism. But, irrespective of all that, once it's reduced to that, isn't it like Brave New World? I mean, isn't it everybody belongs to everybody? And it really doesn't matter anymore because we're not trying to have children. All we're doing is just exploring our own potentials, our own. We're just satisfying our curiosities. I mean, the thing is, like I've been saying, it used to be that if somebody was gay in school or in grade school or any of this high school, they would get abused. You know what I mean? People would make fun of them, whatever. They take a beatings. It was a bad scene to be gay, and if anybody found out about it, just like it would be in any situation, simply because if you look back in time, to these tribal situations. I'm sure there was gay people there. I'm not saying there wasn't, and I'm not saying that there wasn't men that did commune with the women and not go out hunting like men in these tribes. But what I am saying, though, is it's all about propagating the species, you know, and though people say that, you know, the gay lifestyle is a more highly evolved mentality, the thing is there's no way to evolve, because if there's nobody, if you're not having babies, I mean, it's not going any further unless you have this artificial way to inseminate. And so in the future, maybe it'll be just like, hey, you can't really decide if you're going to have a baby. It really just matters, you know, what your disposable income is or something like this. But we've been inched toward this. There's been signaling going on. There's been undercurrents and, you know, just different things like we were talking about yesterday. They'll show a video in a rock video, or this video we were watching last night was Black Box, Strike It Up. And there was this, you know, these people were dancing around or whatever, and there's this whole situation where they were showing the ass of someone dancing around in their swimsuit. And then the ass, just all of a sudden, as the camera's coming in on the ass, the girl moves out of the way, and the camera is right on the crotch of a man. And it just stays there and then goes up, you know, and comes up and, you know, does the shot or whatever. So I'm just saying, is these types... I know it sounds ridiculous, man, but I'm telling you that's all of this stuff, it all adds up, man, at the end of the day. Because look at what Giuseppe just said about the millennials.
It's all mind control, man. It's all moving the Overton window. And even worse than that, it's all fundamentally reshaping society into this androgynous, feminized. And why? Because they do not want the plutocrats, not the oligarchs, but the plutocrats do not want any threat to their power. And if you don't have alpha male warriors, you don't have any threat to your power.
Well, here comes some more of Chasing Amy.
Fuck. She said fuck. You said fuck to that girl. You said that you'd fuck her.
And?
Well, how can a girl fuck another girl? Were you talking about strap-ons or something?
Jesus, would you shut up?
What?
It's okay.
I don't know how many times I can apologize for him.
No, Banky, I've never used a strap-on.
Well, then what's with saying fuck? Shouldn't you say eat her out, or at least modify the term fuck with something like fist?
Let me ask you a question. Can men fuck each other?
What, are you asking for my permission?
In your estimation.
Sure.
So, for you to fuck is to penetrate. You're used to the more traditional definition. You inside some girl you duped, jackhammering away, not noticing that bored look in her eyes.
Hey, I always notice that bored look in her eyes.
These senses are gonna monitor.
Fucking is not limited to penetration, Banky. For me, it describes any sex when it's not totally about love. I don't love Kim, but I'll fuck her. I'm sure you don't love every girl you sleep with.
Some of them I downright loathe.
My name's Jimmy. It's Aftermath Media and Aftermath.fm. It's into the microcosm.
My man Money B, the freaks of the industry. And when you see us backstage, be prepared to G.
Well, they say that birds do it, bees do it. Time to freak, Money B gets to it. Not a heavyweight, but I go 12 rounds with a jab and a stick. I'm going lick for lick, so give me the helmet, I'll be the stunt man. Just relax, and I won't front like Anita. I'm giving you the best that I got, and I'll be taking it slow. Never missing a spot, yes. Caressing your back with chest to chest, she kissing on my freckles. I nibble around your ears before I suck upon your neck. Oh, Money B. Yeah, that's what you'll be screaming and creaming. But it's not a wet dream, it's the real. The freaky dog, Doc Nasty. Never letting the kitty cat get past me without picking it up, petting, teasing it, taking it on home and pleasing it.
Cause we're the freaks of the industry. You's a freak, Money B.
Got that shot, G.
The freaks of the industry. And when you see us backstage, be prepared to G.
We're the freaks of the industry. If you see us backstage, be prepared to G. Mr. G, Giuseppe Vangulo, are you there?
I certainly am, and I don't think we have the same G in mind. So.
Well, Rio was saying he was going to put on the G string last night, but I don't know.
Whoa!
Because he found out he could make $2,000 a week dancing at Chippendales from somebody he was working with. I don't know. I don't know how we got onto the subject, but the point is that, you know, that's another thing. Male strippers. I mean, that's totally gay, man. I mean, it's homoerotic. Let's put it that way. So yeah, they go out there, they dance around for women and stuff, but I mean, you notice they don't get what would be considered aroused, do they? I mean, I know there's get-togethers where there's dancers that do specifically get aroused because everybody in the crowd takes a chance of polishing those knobs at these parties. I don't know what they're called. Maybe it's called a knob polishing party. I'm not sure, but the point is somebody shows up with a heart on, and there's a bunch of women in these parties. There's no men. Someone shows up with a heart on, and everybody just starts, 37 dicks, like we were talking about earlier. In the beginning of the movie. So I mean, right now it's just, I mean, you can do that shit in public. It doesn't even matter anymore. I mean, it's like I said earlier. It's Caligula, man. Anything goes. And I'm not saying there's no judgment, man. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the old people that got all paranoid when Elvis was shaking his leg, they were right. Look at Jailhouse Rock, man. Jailhouse Rock is about as gay as it comes, man. I mean, don't you think? I mean, no one ever thought of it. Everybody's singing it. Oh, this is Jailhouse Rock. And he's like, I'm the king, man. Jailhouse Rock, girl. Hit it, boys.
It's incredibly gay when you listen to it now, man. It really is. It really is. So yeah, I like a lot of people. Like the whole color code thing with the signaling with the hanky code, right? I mean, how far back does it go? It goes back to black and white, doesn't it?
It does.
In black and white days, in TV, they didn't have that kind of signaling, right? So what did they use? They used something else. Was that striped pattern like they used in the Jailhouse Rock video? Is that something? Because you see that in other movies, and you saw that as a style at that time, right? Was it? Now I'm curious, right? Not in that way.
Well, let's just say the baggy pants hanging down around the ass with the boxers. That's also a flag. Okay, when you're in prison, that means something.
Open for business.
It means you're open for business. Okay, now listen. Get the lyrics for Jailhouse Rock, one of you two. And I'm gonna play a little bit of it, and then why don't one of you guys read the lyrics to this song here? Okay, here comes the king, man. I love you, man. Always did. Always will.
Walking through a party in the county jail. The prison band was there and they began to wail.
He's going to a party in the county jail. The prison band was there. They began to wail.
Band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard this knocked out jailbird sing. Let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody.
See, there's the psychic driving right there. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody's shaking their head. Yes, 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 let's rock. Little Joey, he's blowing on the slide trombone.
The drummer boy from Illinois would crash, boom, bang. The whole rhythm section was a purple gang. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in old sailor block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Number 47
Number 47 said to number 3, "You're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. Won't you come do the jailhouse rock with me? Let's rock." Okay.
You know, Jimmy.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hold on, just a second, because people, we understand that the term rock and roll came from black slang, and black slang back then, rock and roll meant to have sex.
I was just gonna say that exactly.
Were you? Oh man, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Right, yeah, me too. Exactly right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, hey, we all think alike. So yes, and then so let's rock now. Epic, what is the Purple Gang? Now, what's purple mean in the skiff there over there? The pull out your double meaning color scheme and let us hear what purple means or potentially could mean.
Well, on the one side, it's piercing. That's like the most common one, but that's not the one that we're looking at. It's lovers and spanking and transsexual males, and when it goes more to lavender, it's. I didn't make this stuff up, man. It's right here.
But I'd like to interject that code for the homosexual that was the 80s. In the 50s, purple meant an engorged member, especially the head.
Really?
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah, very
good,
well done.
Good find. Okay, here we go.
Number 47 said to number 3, "You were the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted with your company. Come on and do the jailhouse rock with me. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block. We're dancing to the jailhouse rock, 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 rock."
This is where the orgy really starts. This is where Elvis is standing on top of this picnic table, and he's like doing these motions while he's dancing around. And as he's dancing around, everybody else, they're on floor level, so their heads are right even with his crotch. And they're all dancing around. I mean, it looks like an orgy, man. I swear to God. Go look at the video for Jailhouse Rock. And take a look at it with a fresh eye, because I think some of these videos had a little double meanings, and they've been doing it for a long time. Go ahead, Epic. Which one of you guys want to read the lyrics? One of you two?
Well, I think you read them. You read them all as they went.
You read them
That's
all, Jimmy.
Pretty good.
All right,
yeah,
cool. Yeah,
it's just the chorus pretty much after that. There's one more line.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Go ahead. So yeah. So Elvis, there he was. Good looking dude or whatever, and he had these potentially he had girlfriends. I mean, there was Priscilla. He had kids and all this, but who really knows at this point? Because like I said, even people that you had no idea. Like, would you think that James Dean was gay? Because a lot of people do think that, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that was the case, but most people wouldn't even consider that.
I did. For some reason, it always kind of struck me that way. I don't know why, but it always kind of did.
So Leonardo DiCaprio was offered a role playing James Dean in James Dean's life story, but he said he wanted to play him as being gay, or else he wouldn't do it. So he didn't do the movie. So there's some reason they don't want to. I don't know, man. Maybe there is a movie that come out since then, but the point is that there's
Well, it's the image that he had, though. They want to preserve the image that he had that was made in that film. Well, several of his films, of course, right? But so they're not going to portray him as they might now.
Well,
maybe this year, next year, but they wouldn't have then.
The thing is, dude, is that when you work for Warner Brothers back in the day, like you're part of the crew, you're on the Warner Brothers team. You know what I mean? You're signed a contract with Warner Brothers. They give you these little rooms, man. That you can. They're called your offices, and they're all over the place. I'm not even shitting you, man. I worked at the Warner Brothers studio, doing telecommunications when I lived in Los Angeles, and I was running jobs. So I had a golf cart. I could go anywhere on that studio. But I'm telling you right now, they had little rooms where, if you're on contract, man, you get this little studio, man, and they have these rooms where James Dean and Dennis Hopper and the other tall dude from Rebel Without a Cause, the guy from the other gang where he went on the chickie run with him. You know, the big tall guy with the black hair. They used to sit up in Dennis Hopper's room over there and sit there making tea all day and drinking mushroom tea.
Say psychedelic tea, right?
Yeah, I mean, but just look at any of these stars, man. These men, these manly men back in the day. Back then, there was a Weinstein you had to go through to get into the movie business, and believe me, there was plenty of people willing to polish the knobs up at those Beverly Hills mansions.
It's bigger than that, man. They kept people on set. MGM had Judy Garland, you know, basically as an orphan, was signed over like as their, you know, their sponsor, their guardianship, right? Yeah, she wasn't an orphan, but if she was treated like an orphan, right? She grew up on the set, and these kind of rooms you're talking about. I mean, and a number of people did that. That's one of the things that people suspect and they can't really prove, but that's why Garbo bailed out, right? She didn't want to be kept. It's like being Rapunzel, right? You're kept in this tower. Yeah, there's something about that, man. There's a lot to that.
Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson's the seminal example of a man that every woman desired, every man wanted to be, and one of the best Halloween parties back in the day in the 80s costumes I ever saw was a fella came to the party wearing a Rock Hudson mask on his face and a target bullseye with like an arrow shooting target bullseye on his rear end.
Well, the thing is
Nice.
the thing is that every time that he was in some romance, okay, there was some bromance going on. I'm sure I haven't gone back and looked at it myself, but I'm just willing to bet you that every single movie he was in, there was some other dude character in there around this relationship he was in with whatever woman it was. I'm just saying, you know, this stuff's been in there the whole time. Nobody knew it. Go ahead.
The edited scene from Spartacus, right, where Tony Curtis, why he ran away, the reason he ran away, right? That's part of it. It was edited out for years and years and years, right? And it's this whole thing where his master's telling him, you know, if you eat oysters, right? And it's obviously talking about oral sex, right? And then, well, but how about the snail? Do you indulge in the snail? And it's like, what? You need to please your master. He's in the bathhouse, right? This is going on.
Well,
and there's something to that that's more than just a dialogue. It's actually something related to what was going on. He wore the dress, right? Tony Curtis wore the dress at that point. It's like the next step in his initiation. If we look at the things we looked at before in some of our other shows, it's exactly what the next step is.
That dude,
yeah, dude, I'm telling you.
That dude is gay, man. Tony Curtis, and because you know when I used to live down there, you know you go on the Sunset Strip, you go to these places, you go to the Rainbow, you know you go to the Whiskey, or whatever. So you go to the Rainbow, you're gonna see like Tony Curtis coming in there, comes in there. He always comes in there with these two blondes with giant titties, but then but when he talks. When you see him, his mannerisms and everything, he doesn't give a shit about those women, man. They're just arm pieces. That dude is as flamboyant as Liberace, man.
Well, he didn't hide it as he got older. He became more and more like Liberace.
Exactly. Exactamundo, because at this point...
Famous Satanist Liberace, yes.
Exactly. At this point, why hide it, you know? But like we're saying, this isn't a judgment thing. We're just saying that this is how... the line gets moved in society, where at some point things weren't right for people and at another point they are. It's just like, you know, back in antiquity they used to throw kids into, you know, flaming barbecues and, you know, they used to eat flesh. You know what I mean? So I mean the thing is like it's not okay now, you know? They stopped doing it or whatever. But if they wanted us to eat flesh, We'd be eating flesh burgers in 6 months if they really wanted us to. They just. I'm just saying.
You're so
man.
right. You're so right.
It's like long bacon or whatever. You ever wonder about bacon? It's never changed. It's kind of weird, man. You know, what is it in bacon? I don't know, but they say pigs are almost just like people.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
That's right, man. I'm just saying. So yeah, the thing is we're already cannibals at this point. You know, here's how they're doing it. See, look. Here's a perfect example. This is the king metaphor for tonight. So they put in flavorings in food and shit. Is ground up abortion waste. And
you're gonna call it monster drink?
And they put it in as it's called flavoring. Pepsi uses it. A bunch of people use it. So the thing is, it's like, you know, they give you a little bit of that in there incrementally. They're giving you these little doses of it. You know, you don't know that it's there, but, you know, then eventually, you know, you find out, well, you know, actually, I guess I've been doing it for a while. You know, I've been eating these cookies and I've been drinking this soda, and it's got all these dried up powders in it that, you know. So I guess, you know, throwing a leg on the old barbecue, I guess it doesn't matter. Bob doesn't really do much anymore around here. Bob can't really go down to the store, get us anything. Bob's really kind of useless. Let's forget Bob. Let's just get rid of Bob and just throw his ass on the barbecue.
Eating Raoul, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, they can make anything possible and anything probable. You know, go ahead.
It's in lipstick, right? The fetal tissue. That's so here's something that's, you know, being licked constantly by the women who wear it, right? It's in monster drink. It's also the scent gland of, what animal is it? A beaver, right? The scent gland of a beaver, for some reason, is in, I think it's both Pepsi and Monster Drink. One of you guys can look that up for me. I just got off memory, but weird things, right? But those things about mammalian scent glands is that's the essence of the animal. You know what I mean? You talk about pheromones. That's where the pheromones come from, right? I mean, essentially. I mean, not necessarily that particular gland, but you get my drift. Like the chemical interaction that takes place, it affects us all, is about pheromones, which is a whole subject in and of itself.
That'd be a great show.
Yeah, it would be a great show, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yeah, we're going to mark that one. We're going to do this one.
Well,
but yeah, here you go. They're distilling that essence and putting it into common, you know, well sold and promoted soft drinks and cosmetics. Why?
Well, you know, here's a teaser for that pheromone show. Do you know what the powerful memory any human has? It's a pheromonic memory. It's a smell. That's the most powerful memory that stays with you more than any other memory.
Yeah, remember that movie Michael starring John Travolta, where every time he walked in the room, somebody would smell what they remembered. Like, he'd walk in and the girl would go, "You smell like chocolate chip cookies," or whatever.
Yep.
You smell
right.
You smell like this. You smell like that. But I mean, he didn't have, you know, he wasn't doing anything. But he was an angel though, so he could make that happen, I guess, or it did happen for people. So it's interesting, but you know, the moving away from the social engineering at this point is a good idea for anybody, and I would highly recommend that you try to get away from it as much as you can. But you know, look, I mean, I'm pointing this stuff out, but you know, the bottom line is,
You gotta change.
I laughed a lot. I laughed at a lot of these movies, you know. I mean, because what was funny because it was okay. In other words, it's like a Quentin Tarantino can, you know, use the N-word as much as he wants, as long as he has people that are black doing it, or that people that are black are there while someone's doing it, or whatever. He gets away with it. See, so the thing is that the language, everything has been turned on its upside down head, and you know, showing you a picture of a cat all day long, calling it a dog, eventually you're going to be calling it a dog, and it's not going to.
Well, what's funny, Jimmy, is that the dark globalists didn't give Kevin Smith a game plan. Here, we want you to make these references. He was a clever guy, and he saw that society was getting hip. You know, it was the whole time of the right after the anti-hero, and that stuff was genuinely funny. And now when we rewatch it, we see that some people were intentionally subverting society, and others, like Kevin Smith, were just being clever because they in their own right were trained monkeys to do it. He wasn't like following orders. It was just a natural spawn of his sense of humor and being a radical, a guy who's on the edge.
And I keep bringing this up and trying to point it out to people that just because someone's a shill doesn't mean they're doing it on purpose.
Right.
The thing is that
absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean,
100%
just
right.
just because they're following the critical path, and so if whatever you're doing, whether it's music, the lyrics that you're writing, or the movie that you're writing, or the storyline that you're putting forward, or the TV situation comedy idea that you're putting forward, like you mentioned earlier, if the total population of the United States, percentage gay-wise, there shouldn't be on TV shows like 7 gay people in a cast of 10, because that doesn't represent what's really, the demographic isn't there. Right. So by showing you it that way, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this at all, I'm just trying to make a point. So now every single commercial you see has got black people in it. Not saying anything wrong with great.
Or interracial couples, right?
Right,
As opposed to the actual
exactly.
the numbers.
Those actors are making good money. More power to them. No problem. But the point is that black people are only 13% of the population.
Exactly.
So, and out of that 13%, those people those people are not watching TV, buying shit that's on TV. Those people are living in situations where they're doing their thing. They're not buying no advertising. So the thing is the whole reason that they're doing that is to educate the white population that's watching TV. The majority of people that bought hip hop albums and hip hop CDs, they were suburban white kids, because kids in low income situations, they ain't spending no $15.99 on no CD. They record that shit off the radio on their cassette player. Okay, so the thing is,
they invented rap because they didn't have a stereo to play their music on. Right. I mean, really, that's what it is.
That's how it happened in Bronx and Harlem. Yeah.
So, anyways, listen, we don't have time to get into that. But the thing is, look, everything is behavior modification complex. Everything is social engineering. Period. The end. There's no way around it. I mean, there it is. I mean, you can look at it like we're saying. Everything's got a double meaning too. Everything has a double meaning. You know, it's like, last night we played Lenny Kravitz, Are You Going My Way? Well, what does that mean? Yeah, you thought it meant something, but maybe
what's his leather pants and jacket?
Maybe it means something else, Maybe it meant, hey, you going my way, whatever. I don't know about Lenny. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying everything's got a dual meaning, and if you're not on the team, you don't understand the inside joke.
Right.
Well, and Lenny's a Beverly Hills kid, right? Like when he went sleeping in his car, famously, he was sleeping in his Ferrari, I mean, it's not, not like, he was out there in the Bronx, like you're talking about, warming his hands in Philadelphia over a trash can in the set of Rocky,
And he married Lisa Bonet, who was on the Bill Cosby show, the daughter with Bill Cosby. I mean, Bill Cosby's into some heinous shit. You can almost imagine it. These are like small circles, man. These are small circles. What was it? What was the name of that other thing? The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When homeboys,
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Total mind control, dude, man. I'm telling you, we can do a show on him entirely.
I know we could be, and his wife, and now his child. I mean, it's never ending. But hey, it is never ending, but it is ending now because we're out of time. Mine's Jimmy. You're listening to Aftermath Media and Aftermath.fm. We'll see you next Thursday. And remember, stay tuned for Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero coming up next.
You're the queen on the scene. I'm the man with the plan. Girl, you want what I got. Fire it up, burning hot. What I'm trying to say, hey, what I'm trying to say, get my motor running, get my motor running, get my motor running. I wanna run all over you. There ain't no
All right, there we go. So that recording session for Aftermath is now concluded. So we are done with that.
That was a good show.
Yeah, it was, and we did a show last night with Rio on it, and
Awesome.
so I'm gonna cut these two together.
Hey, I got a question for you. What is the second most powerful enduring memory after pheromones?
The first person you ever had sex with?
No, music.
Oh,
Yes, music. Yep, a hook. I was gonna bring that up. The hooks. So when we were talking earlier, that was where I was gonna go, but I didn't want to disrupt the show. Like how the hook is the very thing that it is the entrainment that makes people go on to do other things. It is the zip file, the original mimetic engineering. Because what happens is people who think they're creating something new, they're playing that devil's trichord, right, or whatever, something that hooked them, and they just expand upon it. But it's the original whatever few notes that was that hooked them.
There's
right?
an awesome word in German, Ovwam, earworm. That's what they call a hook.
I didn't know the word. It was Ovwam? Ovwam? Is that how you say
Ovwam,
it?
yeah, earworm, yeah.
I've heard earworm. We've talked about it on the
well,
show,
see,
but
like
never
I
knew
said,
the German name.
that's the psychic driving aspect of it, and that's another aspect of hip hop. Because if you'll notice, you're in the lower frequency ranges, and it's all about the beat, the drum beat.
All about the first chakra, man, yeah.
But it's your head is going up and down, and you're saying yes.
Right.
You're saying yes, and you're agreeing to all the misogyny and everything else that's going on in whatever the lyric is.
You're signaling, yeah, whether you know it or not. Yep.
I know.
Excellent point.
Yeah, man. So, I don't know. I was going to do something. I forgot what it was now. Oh, I just asked Algo if he's going to come on.
Come on in, Algo.
Algorithm, come in, and then here's the thing. You guys want to call in about this? I'll open the lines up. You guys want to call in and I'll...
There's a lot here. There is. If you guys
Well,
want to call in,
let's hear from you guys in the chat room, man. Don't be embarrassed to call in here. Okay, so we'll give you the number. Call in, and we'll put you on. I'll put it in the recording for Aftermath. So it'll be kick ass because if you guys call in and add to what we're talking about, it'll be kick ass on Aftermath because they don't have phone lines over there. So it'll give we're gonna open the phones when we're over there live and stuff. But in the meantime, if you guys want to call in, give the number out, Epic, and I'll go get Algo over there. Go ahead. 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761.
Yeah, I'm seeing like the Mickey Mouse. Remember, we had the "Who's the leader of the band is there for you and me," like that image, right? The guy with the baton is Mickey. It's 626-999-4761. Yes, remember. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna get Algo in here, and in the meantime, I was playing this earlier tonight, this song here, and so excuse me. I'll play this for a minute while I get Algorithm and come in here. Stand by.
Oh, we can talk for a minute
Shut
here.
up already.
That's music
Damn.
ever.
Tell me who in this house. Shut up already. Damn. Tell me who in this house know about the quake. I mean, really? Really? If you know how to rock, say yeah. Yeah. If you know how to party, say oh yeah. Oh yeah. But if you ain't hip to the rare house quake, shut up already. Damn. Housequake. Everybody jump up and down. Housequake. Oh, there's a brand new groove going round. In your funky town. And the kick drum is the fault. You gotta rock this mother set. We gotta rock this mother set. We're gonna show you what to do. You put your foot down on the two. You jump up on the one. Now you're having fun. You're doing the housequake. Hey, question. Does anybody know about the quake? Bullshit.
Housequake. Does anybody know about the quake? No.
Let's dance for a while.
What is this?
Heaven can wait. We're only
Yeah, right.
watching the sky.
Uh-huh. Right. There's no way that guy's living in that house. Sorry. Vámonos!
Esa mujer me está matando, me ha espinado el corazón. Por más que trato de olvidarla, mi alma no da razón. Mi corazón aplastado, molido y abandonado. A ver.
Man, they're already on me. I don't even know if they're on me for this or they're on me for something else. I don't even know anymore. They're on me for something. I don't know what it is, but here, let me get Algo real quick. While the getting's good, hold on. I gotta find my screen. There we go. Alright, so let me see here. Let me find algorithm in here. Yeah. There he is. Here we go.
His theme song should be the Game of Thrones theme song. As close as I can think of, like Jason and the Argonauts, but you know the whole build up, you know, dun 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 dun, dun, right? Yeah, it'd work.
It would work. But you know, I mean, I'm not sure what the hell is their problem. I'm not even sure what song. See, I was wrong. It wasn't. I know it wasn't that Santana song. So it must.
No, because that song I played a couple notes when you said that. It was
have,
just starting.
It must have been whatever I was playing before that.
Oh, it was Lenny. It was Lenny probably before that. Yep.
Well, there you go.
What's up, Jimmer?
Hey, we've been joined. We've been joined by Algorithm. What's going on, Algo?
Hey, Into the Microcosm, Jimmy Jeans. That was a fantastic show. And Epic Journeyman and Giuseppe, I got to tell you guys, I'm sitting here in the background watching this and listening, and the knowledge that you guys are sharing, I hope the radio network that you've jumped into understands just how much you guys bring to the table.
Well, I mean, it seems like they do. I mean, we'll see here in the near future when we go live. I mean, that show we did with Charlie last week that we put in there didn't get heard. But I did find out that, if you tune into that aftermath.fm, that our show does run at different days and stuff. And, it does come on like I accidentally heard it today.
They throw it all over the place, yeah. And they're doing their best, and we get that. But I'll tell you what, that last hour that you guys just presented, bam. I was reading the chat, and all the people who had no idea of the mind manipulation through media and through music, they were like in the chat, they're just like, oh my God, I had no idea he was gay. I had no idea it was the sodomite thing. I had no idea. And so I got to tell you, as a guy sitting on the outside watching this and pardon me, knowing some of this, the clarity that you bring to this subject is epic. And not to pat Epic Journeyman on the back, but it really is. You are teaching people things that if humanity is going to survive this nonsense of the COVID, everybody needs to know this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great point. Yeah, how we're being played. Yeah, they need to know that it's not rocket science. It really isn't. It really isn't. It's distilling the things that have been learned for generations past and putting them into play. It's almost like the flashcards, the 3x5 flashcards. They know which ones to go to, and you give that to an artificial intelligence, and now it knows where to go to without even thinking about it like we would have to. It's an automatic response.
Well, the thing is too,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the thing is too is that Weinstein just has some operation over there. See, so they know. I mean, look at the way they advertise to people on these YouTube ads, where they say, "Well, the system doesn't want you to know that you can do this." I mean, they're using it against people. This idea that you can't trust the system, that nobody trusts the system, and they're just using it as a sales tool. It's the same thing with this other shit. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Algo.
No, you're fine. It's just that when I hear people in the chat say, "Oh my God, I was a teenage girl, and I thought George Michael was the most beautiful man I ever saw," the mind control operation that you guys are exposing is tremendous. And it's the kind of thing that as we go through the COVID thing, and as we go through Agenda 21, and as we go through Agenda 2030, if we can't know these basic fundamentals, we're so lost, and we're never going to be able to overcome it. So I was sitting here listening to this, and I'm just like, oh my God, my heart was so big. I'm just like, these guys are laying it out in a way that people can understand in simple references to everything we've been exposed to. And now that we're at this point, we have to level up our game. We got to level it up and say, no, thank you.
Well, the thing is now, society's changing, and the whole mechanism. You can look at a demographic. Of people and use it as a tool, and you can say, if you see people that are continually wearing this protection from this situation, from Michelle Pfeiffer. Somebody's sending me messages. But if you continually see these people, and you can see the demographic of the people that are susceptible to the programming. So the thing is that as many people as we can educate, it's still going to be a minority of those people, because there's a giant alternative media and we don't get any traction. Maybe somebody else with a paywall will take our shit like they normally do and then go, present it as their own or whatever. But the point is that the information gets out. We're not monetized. We don't get anything out of it. So we're just trying to break it down for people. This is just an example. I mean, you can take this thing and look at it over and over again, man. You can see hairstyles, and you can see clothing, and just whole attitudes, man. We brought up the Playboy Mansion because the Playboy Mansion was instrumental in the sexual revolution, because we went from a puritanical type society of this idea of the virgin and, you know, the good girls don't and all that, to this whole other idea of what we have now. Go ahead, you guys jump in.
Well, you know, what's so tragic and insidious, like a cancer, a malignancy, is how not only are young people getting buffeted by the globalist industrial media entertainment complex, but it's in the schools now. The ridiculous communist curriculum, except now it's called communitarianism, right? And they have pithy phrases like, it takes a village to raise a child, and rat out your parents if they're not going along with the mind control bullshit of what the globalist state wants them to believe. And so it's coming from all ends. And I read that statistic earlier about how many, you know, young-minded goofs all of a sudden identify with LGBT. You know, there are a small percentage of actual homosexuals. It's been around forever. I mean, in some indigenous cultures, they had, you know, they considered them on the path to be medicine men and women, because they were so creative and so, you know, into things like the unknown, the spiritual. And so they had a place in some of these indigenous societies. But now these, you know, the reality is that's a genetic miswire, you know. Like you made the great point, Jimmy, is like, we are biological meat entities, and we have a biological imperative to breed and promulgate the species. Every human, when you're young and you go through puberty, it kicks in. You are wired to procreate, or at least attempt to procreate. And so anything else, that's just cosmic rays or toxicity or whatever, you know, misprogramming your genetics. In a perfect production world, it's just man and woman, but it never works that way because we're flawed beings. But and again, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that's the point of we're not reptiles. We don't lay eggs. You know, all mammals need the female and the male to continue the species.
Like a virgin.
Not only that. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have the longest weaning period as human beings of any animal on the planet. You know, we gotta take our young through 10, 12 years of weaning, right?
I think wasn't there a news story that some lady was still breastfeeding her kid and is like 12 years old?
Yeah, now when I say we don't mean just breastfeeding, I just mean in general, right? Yeah, but yeah, no, that does happen. It happens.
Mommy.
Ironically a lot. Yeah, but yeah.
Love this song.
A sticky sweet romance, and she makes you wanna scream, wishing you could get inside her pants. So you fantasize away while you're squeezing her. You thought you heard her saying, "Good girls don't, good girls don't." But she'd be telling you, "Good girls don't," but I do. So you call her on the phone to talk about the teachers that you hate, and she says she's all alone and her parents won't be
My name's Jimmy. It's Aftermath Media and Aftermath.fm. Sitting here with Giuseppe Vafangulo, the epic journeyman and the incredible algorithm. It's into the microcosm, Aftermath.fm. It's Aftermath Media and Aftermath.fm. Stay tuned for Clyde Lewis coming up next.
We're here in recording.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, you talked into the microphone, and instead we heard the recording of the show saying, "Stay tuned for Clyde Lewis next."
That was me. I was recording that.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Except you just talked over it.
I stepped on it.
Dude, Jimmy is he's the edit master, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got the vibe of it, whatever, so, but just because it was live. So anyhow, let's get back into the subject matter, huh? So I mean, you can look at any of these trends, any of these moves towards any kind of an ideology or any kind of a philosophy, the changing of the social makeup of the country to make things okay and acceptable. So, anything goes at this point. It's Caligula, right? Everybody belongs to everybody. The only thing that's missing is the thing that you take in Brave New World, whatever pill that is. Forget what it's called.
Soma. Yeah, isn't it interesting? The tie-in you just made there, I thought was really interesting. That you're tying in Caligula, the unbridled hedonism of Caligula's reign, with the modernistic, technocratic, Brave New World societal control system that's coming into play now, and that they're not that far apart. The control mechanism at play isn't the technology; it's the unbridled hedonism in itself. The fact that there is no moral center, there is no moral right or wrong. It's all about just everybody blows to everybody and do your own thing, as long as the people at the top get what they want out of you, and that's what it is, right? I mean, and so yeah, the difference with Caligula, he got caught up in it to where the thing that was his control mechanism became the thing that was his undoing. Right?
Zombie-like pleasure seekers, man, walking around, foaming at the mouth, looking for somewhere to, get off at. That's really what it is. I mean, what's the point of it all? I mean, why even go to the mall? Why even buy extra clothes? Why even try to make yourself look good?
Why leave home?
Why even put makeup on? Why do any of it? When really just the bottom line is, man, it's all about that one split second of release. It's the opposite too, because women get energized by their orgasms and men get drained by their orgasm.
Well,
so the thing,
no, totally right. But the question I have is, who is having sex now? I mean, are we all just out having sex, or is the COVID and the masks distancing?
You mean Michelle Pfeiffer?
Has it shut all that down?
Yeah, well,
I kind of think it has. I kind of think it shut it all down.
It has.
A lot of it.
Yeah, maybe.
You think about the full spectrum dominance of not only of the fear after a while, month after month of this nano terrorist, you get yourself in what's called a cortisol loop, right? Cortisol is released when you're faced with fight or flight, survival, either fight or run. And after a while, it's supposed to then move on to the pituitary and the other glands, the thymus, and there's a whole endocrine process in normal life that allows you to deal with intense initial emotion. And after a while, you burn out, and then it burns out your adrenals, the little glands that sit on top of your kidneys, and all of a sudden you're so tired, and who wants to get busy at that point, right?
Right. Yeah. So Giuseppe, who's out there going to the clubs trying to get laid? Who's going out there to the bars?
Well,
Who's going to the supermarket and commenting on the girl's melons when she's filling them? It ain't happening.
Well,
They
didn't
have
you
cut
didn't you
off
just see
our
spring?
sexuality.
Didn't you just see?
epically.
Didn't you
Sorry,
just see?
Jimmy, go ahead.
Didn't you just see spring break? Epic. Are the hotels full over there for spring break?
They're kicking people out. Yeah, in South Beach. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, in a few towns, but I'm talking about Midwest Nebraska.
No, I get what
Colorado.
you're saying though. You're
Well, those are
100%
college
right.
kids,
that's-
man, too.
that-
That's
what he's
that-
talking-
They're at the height of the hormonal drive.
I think what Algo is alluding to is the cottage industry known as masturbation. There's a lot of because there's a lot of
Jimmy, you're on it, buddy. Yeah,
there's-
you're on it.
Well, the thing is like, hey man, everybody's got Zoom.
There is no sex.
Everybody's got Zoom. You just do it, you do a Zoom meeting. You can meet on the internet and never touch. But I mean, realistically,
cottage.
realistically,
That's why it's a cottage industry.
realistically,
I'm not a big fan of Woody Allen, especially how he's lived his life, but he had one of the greatest lines when he was a comedian in the 60s. He went, masturbation, that's sex with someone you love.
there you go. And listen, man, in a narcissistic society that we live in, there's probably nothing better for people just to do it for themselves, and that's it. You don't even have to involve anybody else. There's no emotional.
Right. Well, the point I was making earlier, and I don't want to miss the point of that one, is that this VR supplementation of actual biological lovemaking is a real thing, and what it depends upon is taking the pheromones out of the equation, the human touch out of the equation, and the idea of sex being more attractive than actual sex. And once that happens, well, we're done for. That's it. It's the end of humanity as we know it. I mean, it's
well, just
cold
like
at that
the
point.
idea. Just like the idea that someone in the panopticon is looking through the window at the prisoners keeps the prisoners from doing anything. So the idea is the most important thing. Is what's between our head and when inside of our head, and that is why the capturing of the imagination and the psychic driving that goes on, and these archetypes that are created that are put up there as role models. When they say role model, it doesn't mean that they got to be good. Role models are any role that they want to put out in society. Go ahead, Algo.
I got to tell you, when you said the psychic driver and you played part of that song in the first hour, I know almost everybody was bouncing their head accidentally. They had no idea. Their shoulders were going forward. Their head was bouncing forward. They were playing to that song. So when you're talking about psychic drivers, I'm telling you, man, you're on target. And that mimetic warfare that we're all being subject to is of, again, sorry, epic, but it's of epic proportion. And I'll tell you, the pardon me, I made a video called How the Amish Beat the New World Order, because they did, and the rest of us don't live that way because we're hooked into our devices and our machines and our internet and our stuff, and we're doing good work, and you guys are doing amazing things in the videos and in your that psychic driver, Jimmy, buddy, you're on it right there. That is a huge thing that most of us don't even know is happening to us.
Yeah, it's a three-part system, and the next piece is de-patterning. So where they de-pattern you to a point where you can't even remember what happened yesterday. kind of a thing, and it used to require sleep and electric shock. But I'm 100% convinced, based on some of the technology, the stuff that I've looked at, that this is totally possible through the behavior modification complex directly right through your cell phone. You don't even need the electric shock, because I think you're getting hit with sonic and subsonic frequencies that are achieving the same result as an electric shock.
Mind control without the app. You don't even need the app anymore.
No.
Yeah,
I think
for sure. And I hope you flesh that out. Let people know, because that's a real thing. So go. Sorry.
Well, no, I'd have to go Epic. I sent you the article a while back, just the other day, so it shouldn't be too far back in there. It's called Mind Control via the Cell Phone. You want to pull, if you want to, just can you scroll back in your Skype?
Oh yeah, I'll go look for it. I think we've talked about it, but I'll go find it. Hold on a
This
second.
is an older article, but it'll just kind of give you some, some pointers and shit that you can go look at yourself. The thing is, man, no one even talks about subsonic harassment, man. It's like you can't hear it. It's not anything you can hear. You're getting hit with it, though. Can make you argue with your wife. Come out of your phone and make you argue with your wife.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying. If let's just pretend it's a corporate. It's a one corporation against another corporation. And one.
So posted it in the chat. Sorry.
Okay.
It says there.
Okay, so there's one corporation against another corporation. Big competition for this big contract coming up. And Corporation A hires a company to harass Corporation B's CEO, who's going to have to be at this meeting to make this thing happen. And so what they do is they hire this company that they get hold of his cell phone number, and then they get him up, and then they subsonically harass him and get him in a fight with his wife to the point where they're just about to get a divorce, and he misses the meeting. And Corporation A is successful in their takeover of whatever company they were going to. I'm just saying, I'm trying to show you why this technology, you don't even have to say it has anything to do with just regular people on the street. Just saying, if you got the money to hire the company, the technology's there. So, Epic, did you find that article? No.
Yeah, I posted it in the YouTube chat so people can look at it.
Go ahead and read.
I got it up. It's a Scientific American article from 2008.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
It's about transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is a way to both wipe the brain and implant things in the brain. And it interrupts with the thought processes that go on inside your brain. And it's well known, it's well established, and it has a lot to do with why so many of the things that we see today seem to have started and ended around that date of 2008. Like for example, this is a wild one. There are no Mandela effects created by anything after 2008. None, zero, none. Right? So why is that? Right? What changed? Well, cell phones. Transcranial magnetic stimulation happened. Everybody's subject to it. Our minds are completely being bombarded the entire time. Our brains, not our minds, our brains constantly by this field around us at all times. And once that happened, the world changed.
Dude, that's a boom. That's a mic drop boom right there.
It is, It is, man. So, this is a dangerous topic, this particular thing, subsonic harassment. So if you start looking into it, you're going to find out how dark it actually is. It's pretty dark, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark. So, and like I was saying earlier, the frothing zombies, they're seeking dopamine, seeking pleasure, because we've been turned into pleasure seekers, narcissistic pleasure seekers. That won't stop until we have that, satisfaction that we seek. Anything's possible, anything goes, and there are no outside the boxes, man. Everything's inside the box at this point.
Yeah, inside the box that they have given us, right?
Yeah, well, the box is 8-foot ceilings, and everybody lives in one, and that 8-foot ceiling is there specifically to drive you psychologically, to press you down. You go to anybody's house who has money, they got high
12-foot ceilings.
They got high ceilings in their house.
Vaulted ceilings,
Absolutely.
yeah.
12, 16, absolutely.
That's right.
And you've worked in those,
rounded
Jimmy,
edges. Yep.
right?
Especially
when you were in Colorado, Jimmy, and you were working in Aspen. Were any of those places 8-foot ceilings?
No, not even the au pair.
Not even the garage.
Man, they were building babysitter houses that people would pay like $10 million for in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding, man. I'm
know
talking.
you're not.
I'm talking
I've
about.
been there. I know.
Yeah, I'm talking about these people literally import barn wood from the Midwest, from these barns that are falling down, and refurbish it all and bring it in. It costs like $300 a board foot. Seriously, it's literally the level of it. But I'm just saying, listen, you can't think when you're pressed into an 8-foot box. And believe me, that 8-foot ceiling didn't just hey Bob, listen, we're building these buildings. What should we do for a ceiling heist? What do you think? 8 foot? How's that sound? Yeah, I don't think so, man. Not to the point where you're tuning factory tuned instruments at 440 and changing 440 for 432 to 440. If you're gonna do that, if you're on that level of doing shit, then this is no problem.
Because the harmonics change. Your base frequency changes, your harmonics change, and your subharmonics change. So the harmonics that are emphasized, like the sixth harmonic in particular, or third harmonic in particular, those things both forward and back change. So the shapes that are made cymatically through cymatics are completely different. That's 100% true. So there's a reason that these things get shifted, frequency shifted slightly to one direction or the other. In fact, in sonar, in submarine sonar in particular, we'll shift the electric bus of our own boat, right, to see if there's something else there hiding on our frequency. Because when we shift our frequency, we can see the other harmonics of the other things in the area that are on that frequency that are hidden by or masked by our own. And that same premise of shifting the frequency, it's a cliche now, right, to some people, but no, it has roots in something much more complicated and true. And the idea is that when you shift that frequency, every harmonic thereof, which becomes stronger, right, in certain intervals, and subharmonic that affects us in the psychic level, also changes with it. And when we talk about cymatics, those are shapes. And if you believe that Hebrew was created, as the legend says, by the tones, vibrating the sand on a rock face, right, to make those characters, well, doesn't that change also? If you change the tone, it changes the language, and everything changes. And that's what's happening to us. Is our it's not just our language; it's our reality anchors around us that change too when it changes. Right, that's kind of deep, I guess. I don't want to go too far into that right now, but yeah, that's what's happening to us. Is we are no longer stabilized like we once were. We don't have the common bond we all were born with.
Bingo.
Right?
Yeah, and when you say, pardon me, when you say you don't want to go too deep on the harmonic anchors or the Mandela effect anchors, go that deep, because everybody listening, everybody in chat, anybody who's going to hear this back knows those harmonic anchors and those Mandela effect anchors. And we're like all sitting here looking at you and looking at Epic and Jimmy and Giuseppe saying, okay, so I know this thing, but I can't verify it because it's changed. And now I need someone to tell me, wait a minute, it hasn't really changed. It changed, but it's not real. So when you dial back on that Epic, I wish you wouldn't. I wish you would throw a stake in the ground, and I will hold the stake while you pound the sledgehammer.
Well, okay, put it that way. Well, okay, let me start with the premise that everything has a resonant frequency. Everything has a resonant frequency. Every life form, every piece of matter, everything has a resonant frequency that makes it what it is, right? So when you shift that resonant frequency, if you think of it like a computer game, for example, something people may relate to now, where the frame rate drops or shifts and it doesn't keep up and it stutters, right? For example, because it can't keep up with your processing power is no longer tuned to that program the way it should be. So you start seeing graphically changes because it can't keep up with it. Well, that's what's happening to us. So things are no longer as solid as they once were, or even if they're solid, they're not clear anymore because there's a harmonic distortion, and that's a real thing. That's an acoustic term. Actually, if you're a sub hunter or you're a sonar guy or whatever, that's actually a thing. So what happens is this harmonic distortion, this ability to hide, something within this widening field of noise, background noise. They call it scatter, this background noise. It's not defined anymore. So the clear signal that you're looking for is no longer there. I mean, it's still there. It's still there. It's just hidden. It's masked by the just a sheer amount of background noise. And so in the passive sonar equation, the ability of the operator, the person viewing it, to distinguish between the background noise and the signal. That's an actual factor. It's called NRD, nominal recognition differential. I don't give way too much. This might be classified or something. I don't think that part's probably classified, but I think that I can't go much farther than that. But the idea is exactly what we're talking about in the basis of how reality is being distorted. So if we can't distinguish against the background noise anymore, because the background noise in the signal of that background noise is stronger than the actual signal of the thing that we were once tuned into, well, then we lose our contact and our grip and our ability to perceive that contact. And sometimes those contacts are memories.
Yeah. Nailed it. And when a person who bounced onto Jimmy's stream and just heard part of this, and they're like, what the hell is he talking about? If you look into your own life and your own memories, you're going to understand some kind of resonance with that. And I think that's kind of a thing, right? So as you're explaining that, I understand it, and I hope everybody else does. But when we want to mainstream media, or we wander into a channel that has something to say that we understood before we got there is our anchor. And if we let our anchor go, then we're going to dissolve ourselves into the new information, which may or may not be true. And there's a great channel out there called Crow 777. There's like, belief is the enemy of knowing is his mantra. And he tries everything to tell people, whatever you believe, fine, whatever. But if you know it, then you know it. And when I'm sitting here listening to you guys for the first hour, you guys know exactly what you were talking about. And I hope that everybody in the chat understands that when they're telling you these things, they're not trying to manipulate or trying to encourage or whatever. They're just telling you, this is what I know. This is what I'm sharing.
Well, and beyond the signal, so we're talking about the physics of a signal, in whether it be a tone or an electronic signal or anything, a alpha beta wave in your brain. These are all signals. These are all frequencies, right? But and so there's a physics aspect to this. But what makes this dangerous and why it's so frightening, for lack of a better word, I know there's a better word for this, about where our society is going, is that now you're also employing those data points. Like, those frequencies are data points. Those harmonic distortions are data points. You know where to hide a signal and how much signal to use to distort something, because those are data points, right? But once you have those data points, now you can also use weaponized psychology. You can cause cognitive dissonance to implant a memory, remove a memory. You can use that same thing, sleep deprivation, strongly known to be a part of what it takes to program someone, to reprogram someone, right? Combined with that cognitive dissonance, and then use that stronger signal, that entrainment we talk about so often, to supplant what your original thought process was. It's a real thing. It really is. And so us knowing about it is one thing, but what do we do about it, right? Well, that's where the question really comes into. And I think the first thing we do is let everybody know that the concept of cognitive liberty is what we need to fight for. That we have a right, a fundamental God-given right to be free in our own thoughts, and that's being infringed upon.
Right. And when you say, what do we do about it? We do what we're doing right now, right? So we talk about it. We try to share. We try to ask them to look into their experience and say, wait a minute, am I being railroaded? Am I being manipulated by the microcosm? Or am I thinking for myself? Right? So, and that's I'm trying not to blow smoke, Jimmy, but one of the things I like, one of the things I like so most about what Jimmy does is just lay it out there raw. Throw it out there. Make your own opinion. We went through the whole gay Hollywood whatever stuff, and now that here we are, what is it you think about it? Right?
Yeah, it's up to people to make a decision about what they think about it. Like I said, there's no judgment involved. Like I said, if the hardest core hip hop artists are gay, it doesn't bother me. Doesn't change the fact that whether I'm gonna like or dislike their music.
Yeah, you ain't sleeping with them. What do you care?
I don't care, but the thing is that there's a Tupac song called "How Do You Want It," and there's a particular point in there where he's talking about how do you want it and this and that. But he uses the N word in a weird place. And the thing about it is not that black folks don't use the N word with each other. But it was the way he used it in the context, the way he used it. It was not used in a way that would have been a black man would say to a black woman. He would have, in that moment of saying what he was saying, if he was talking to a woman, he would have said something else. He would have called her a bitch or a hoe. He wouldn't have used the N word. And so that was a clear signal to me that whole "How Do You Want It" song potentially is having to do with dudes. It has nothing to do with him wanting to. He's not talking about women. He's talking about men in that song. I don't know. Go ahead.
I got a weird tie-in to something we were talking about earlier. I just don't want to forget about it because I thought about it yesterday, and I don't know if it's true, but I wonder if other people thought the same thing I did. The movie Tropic Thunder, right? With the all-star cast comedy. There's a character in there that's played by Tom Cruise, where he's this movie producer. He's running the show, and he's on the phone all the time with his big, over-exaggerated finger sizes and all this stuff, right? And unshaved and everything, and just like this total jerk. Don't you think that's Harvey Weinstein? Like there's a parody of Harvey Weinstein? I think so. I really do. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that, but I did.
I never saw it, but I would say from your description, probably 100% spot on.
If you guys haven't watched guys and gals, excuse me, go ahead and check it out because and think about what I said, and I think so. I think absolutely that's what it was. It was before the Me Too thing, so just keep that in mind.
All right, the time has come. We must exit stage left because that time has come.
Jimmy, thank you.
Thank you. Al.
No. Thank you for
thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
guys, all of you guys are great, and I am always privileged and I always feel humbled to be part of this. So thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you. And I've been trying to get you to come on so that you could be part of the recording for Aftermath, so people can start getting to hear your name, so they can find you on YouTube and whatever. So thanks for joining us tonight. I'll see if I can. There's a lot of shit. We already did 2 hours on this last night plus tonight. Then I only got an hour show, so I got to cut it together. So hopefully your part will make some of what you were in there will be in there.
Which I appreciate if it is, but your first hour that you guys did is all you need to cut. That was epic. Your very first hour was fantastic. So anyway.
Badass. All right, you ready to go? Here we go.
Take care, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here for this recording. Jennifer, thanks Mike, thanks Marty, thanks Lewis, thanks Zoe, thanks Bella, thanks John, thanks Drone, thanks Lewis, thanks Kenny, thanks Robin, thanks Brandy, and anyone else who... Yeah, anybody else who's lurking out there. Smurfer girl. Yeah.
Love you, Jimmy.
All right, talk to you later. Thanks, Dubs. Really appreciate you a lot, brother. Thanks very much, man. Appreciate you being here, Dub.
Grammarly is your personal writing assistant.